Hello, everybody. Scott Golden, Golden Opportunities Coaching, and the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel here. And we are going to discuss the continuation of our TNT review series, Tuesday Night Titans. This particular episode is the 11th of October, 1985. Relatively nondescript program. Certainly something worth taking a look at if you like certain talents. But one of the skippable programs, and as you've seen throughout the review process, there are a wide variety of those. The programs are even getting a little shorter. This one clocking in under 40 minutes, which means our review should be relatively short. Randy Savage speaks about the Wrestling Classic. You can see even here Randy Savage. This is just months after his debut. I believe his debut is July or August. I think it was August. So, I mean, he's been in less than 4 months and already being treated like a guy who's going to have a rocket strapped to his tail. He says he basically challenges Hulk Hogan, says the Cadillac is going to be his, Rolls Royce is going to be his. From the winning of the tournament at the Wrestling Classic, oddly enough, they seem to have wanted to make this a annual event, but they did not. I say oddly because usually Vince McMahon sticks with his ideas, but pulling a pivot is a surprise. We move into a interview with Mr. Fuji and Don Morocco. Some people love this version of things. I'm not a fan of the whole Fuji Morocco acting bit. They continue the Fuji General Hospital thing, wherein this time it gets a little more campy. Morocco goes back and says he did not allow his patient to die. He is looking for opportunities in Hollywood, and the acting here does not become that. He basically continues to hit on a nurse. They purposely make him emotionless and vapid, and I guess it could fall under so bad it's good, but at the same time, it's pretty weak. We then go to a interview with Fabulous Moolah. Moolah really talks a great deal about wanting to win. Goes back to the concept of training some girls and the like, and really starts talking just about also wanting to be the champion again and that sort of thing. So really a very basic approach to things for Moolah here. A completely skippable interview. Then we talk to the British Bulldogs, of course, not tag team champions yet. They don't win those championships, I don't think, until WrestleMania 2. I know they start chasing them before then, but I think the final win is WrestleMania 2. Actually, I know the win is WrestleMania 2, but I don't think they're multi-times, like already had been champs going into WrestleMania 2. I mean, it's interesting because obviously on camera the Bulldogs are somewhat tame, no pun intended, but certainly not off camera as they are master manipulative ribbers and pretty harsh with a lot of their ribs. Anyway, we move into a Bulldogs match, which is where their bread and butter is. Frank Merconi and the Avenger versus the British Bulldogs. Match pretty well clipped up, as all the matches here are, but the interesting factor of that is we start to talk about just the double team maneuvers. The top rope drop kick from Dynamite is here. His use of a headbutt is here. The power slams are here. But the speed of the Bulldogs, which I think could have held up against any team in the country or maybe even the world at the time, cannot be understated. The Bulldogs do bulk up even from here, but even here, their bodies are suspect, to say the very least, if you're talking about, drug involvement. Jimmy Hart interrupts the interview and he talks to the Hart Foundation. The Hart Foundation British Bulldogs war already is kind of set in motion here. Hart, obviously, Hart, Neidhart, and Bret Hart are the Hart Foundation. They are not impressed with the Bulldogs in the very least. They don't admit to this, but all four men coming from Stu Hart's Calgary promotion really, do in about a year, maybe 9 or 10 months from now, really start to light things up as far as the you know, winning the championships for the Hearts is concerned, and all those things. But even here, you can see them teasing really being a top team, and that's kind of cool. Tito Santana out. He talks about the pressures of being the Intercontinental Champion. He talks about wanting to be at his best, and very basic interview for Tito. Then we see a clipped match of Gino Carabello and Tito Santana. Very basic squash match. I've never quite understood the concept of giving champions squash matches. I get the concept of giving challengers who are going to go fight the champions at the house shows squashes. That makes them look like competitive challengers in theory, but the idea of putting a champion on television for no reason, not necessarily for me. We see Santana actually win, I believe, with a figure 4 leg lock here. Really basic match. Not worth going out of your way to see. Santana talks about the competitors from Savage to Morocco to Jesse the Body Ventura. Really, almost called him Steamboat, but Santana is a guy that I think, had he not had the Latin American / Spanish accent, I think he would have gone really far with the company. I do think, unfortunately, either Vince being narrow-minded or somebody on the writing team not thinking it'll get over with the non-Latino fans, Tito never got the full due, although he did do a lot with things. He did not get the full due of being the world champion. Then Morocco talks about wanting to do future movies. They talk about doing the Western thing. They talk about doing things like Fuji Vice eventually, although they don't name it yet. Basically, Morocco says that he's too spontaneous for acting and too out of control for pro wrestling is basically the vibe he gives. And at this point, I will admit he is acting that part reasonably confidently, so good for him. As mentioned, this TNT was not a show that could be, regretted if it's missed, but if you'd like to go back and watch it, certainly it is available. In any event, I encourage you, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.